Hi, it's Sue Bishop and welcome to Metaphysics Moments. Today's topic, we're going to look at mediumship. As you know, there is different types of mediums. We've got transmediums, we've got conscious mediums. The one that most people do know about is a conscious medium. Perhaps you've already seen one. Conscious mediums are the people that pass on messages from family and spirit. Conscious mediumship works when you've got a spirit, usually family, sitting outside your aura, conveying information via the automator at the back of the nape of the neck here, between the third eye and the throat chakra, obviously into your third eye and connecting into your heart chakra. They work as go-betweens, so their job is merely to be the conduit for spirit to send a message through and you pass it on to someone else. Energetically, it's not that complicated and it's not that hard to develop because the spirits that you're dealing with, being mostly family in spirit, have an energy that isn't that far removed from your frequency. Now, yes, they are now in the 4D world and in the 3D world. So, of course, there's energetic differences, but because they're still in a karmic cycle, they progressed up in frequency, but not that far removed. So, if you can imagine having a realm that's still kind of like interfaced with the physical, but more of the 4D world, but there's an interface. The same way as most of your aura is interfaced in the 3D world, but your spiritual body, that's the part that interfaces with the 4D world. So we do have areas of merging or blending in energetically between the realms. It's easy for them to communicate because your energies do not have to be that finely tuned. They have to be raised a little, obviously, because you need the chakras to resonate at a certain frequency. But it's an easier energy to reach and it's easier to achieve a clear line of communication with spirit as a conscious medium. That's the plus side. Are there any downsides to being a conscious medium? Well, of course there are. One of them is that the ego and the mind can interfere because you're doing it consciously and spirit is outside of you. It lends itself open to exposure to the ego. So, for example, or your thinking patterns. For example, say you're on stage and you're getting things right and you're very confident. The information is flowing because your rational mind's not kicking in to interfere, nor is the ego. But as soon as, say, you get a lot of negatives, so someone keeps saying no, 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 and you let that get to you, well, then your thinking self can step in with, oh my God, I made a mistake. But it's taking you then out of that intuitive psychic realm and interfering with your connection with spirit. And ego can mimic a spirit. So once that chain of command between spirit and you is broken, ego can jump in and mimic that spirit. So you're going to continue making mistakes. And even old subconscious patterns can emerge to interfere with that. So this is why you get some stage mediums that are just doing really well, and then suddenly it all turns on them, and you go, but why are they getting everything wrong now? They're doing so well. And that's because the interchangeability between mind states and connection to spirit has been interfered with. A trance medium works completely different. Trance mediumship is when part of you actually exits to allow a spirit in. So it's a different dynamic. Part of you that exits is the astral self. And it can either stay in the room, for example, it can just hover up on the ceiling looking down. You're observing what's happening, but you're not in yourself to consciously intervene with what spirit's doing. As you progress as a trance medium, as trust develops, you can take your astral self out into the astral and have no conscious awareness of what's going on. And that's the preferred state because you cannot interfere with a trance session. And then you come back and you can watch a video of you so you can see what you've missed. Why we prefer that state as metaphysicians is that lack of interference. Conscious mediumship can be interfered with, as said by the rational mind. The person that's doing it, if they're not in a good space, if they've got a fear or worry, or the audience is little applause and enough, whatever it is, can be cues for the rational mind just to slip in. So it's an easier connection to sever, easier to form, but easier to sever. Whereas trancing takes a lot longer to form. And the reason being is that you have to not only work your 7 main chakras and really wire them up to a higher frequency, because you are working 4th dimensional, 5th dimensional beings onwards. You have to work your transpersonal point, earth star, and other dimensional chakras. So the 10 dimensional chakras on the spiritual body and the 11th dart has to be awakened. Sometimes it's consciously done. Most of the time, most people, it's unconsciously done. They're just really focused on bringing their energies up, but don't understand the other dynamics that are happening. So as you're rewiring and raising your vibration, what you're doing is that you're kind of breaking this glass ceiling, so you can shift more and more into 4D dimension, 5D, especially when you use your dimensional chakras. This makes it easy for spirit to step in. They have to scale their energies down a little bit so they can set in your energies. Some of the more evolved spirits will actually send an aspect, project a part, same way as you would say project your astral self when you are astral traveling. You can still see what's going on and interface with things, but it's only an aspect of you, and that can be scaled down to actually sit with our energies. The spirit that's coming in hasn't been in the body for a while. Imagine not having a physical body for 5,000 years. Or imagine coming from a realm where you're semi-gaseous or you're just pure consciousness as a spirit. You never had a physical body and you're coming here into a physical body. It's going to take you a little while to go, oh my God, how do I move these hands? How do I move the mouth? How do I get the vocal cords? If you were learning to drive a car, you just don't get in and drive straight away. It takes a little while to learn how to use your fingers, use the mouth of the spirit to drive your car. Your energies have to sustain this being. So if the energy doesn't hold for long enough, spirit just has to go. So you do have to really work at building up and sustaining a level of energy. It will come through, send its energy through the ultra major there, lining with all your chakras, lining with all your auric bodies. Then once it's got that, it can work through you. The beautiful thing about Transmediums is you've got spirits that are coming through for the purpose of educating. It's an evolutionary type of thing. Mediums are passing messages from family or friends to you, helping you with day-to-day things, and that's a wonderful service. But Transmedium is more designed for high-level spirit teachers or beings from different planetary systems that can help us with our evolution, with our education, with our knowledge bank, with new concepts, evolutionary inventions. So they're more a teacher kind of spirit. If you look at the ancients, how did they know about planetary alignments without telescopes? How did they know about the spirit world? How did they know which herbs to use? You had the shaman, the priesthoods, the mystic schools, people that would use different forms of trancing, whether it's through meditation, hallucinogenics, and other kind of direct trance mediumship. They connected with the spirit world to bring information through, which has really always helped us at an evolutionary level. As we're moving into a universal 5 year next year, which is all about movement, freedom, adventure, innovation, communication, and education, what a perfect time for people to open up to the concept of transmedium. Maybe go watch a transmedium. Maybe you can discover that within yourself there is that potential to be one yourself. There are 2 types of mediumship. They have 2 different functions. They Both provide a vital service, but the nature of the service is different. Mediums, we are messengers. Transmediums, in general, it's pure form educators. I'm not talking people that do mean trancing shows where they've got the darkened room and blowing trumpets, the theatrical part of that kind of take on transmediumship. I'm just talking about pure, down to earth communication from a high being who has being their voice point to help us with their mission. Yeah, it's something to think about when you're exploring mediumship. If you have any questions on those types of mediumship, feel free to send me an email at kiaracollege@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Bye.